The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, Sask Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
Hello, I'm with Patrick Mooleki today with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. Patrick, you're here. You're doing research on fertility. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing and what you're trying to find out?
Basically, what we are doing here is that we have a study that's looking at reducing the toxicity of phosphorus that's seed placed with canola. So basically, what we want to see is as we increase the seedbed utilization, how much more phosphorus can we apply with the seed? That's basically what we are looking at here.
Because the phosphate actually damages seed in a different way than nitrogen damages seed, is that right? And so you have to be very careful how much you put on?
Typically the toxicity is similar to the urea and the ammonium in the urea. It's very similar. There's what we call ammonia toxicity for urea, yes, but there's salt toxicity for all fertilizers. Okay. And the little bit of ammonium that is in ammonium monophosphate, which is the MAP, the 1152, yeah, is not as toxic as that in the phosphorus. That's just the concentration because there's only 11%. But when it comes to the salt toxicity, also the phosphorus, the monoammonium phosphate can also cause salt toxicity by dehydrating the seed. That means it's going to absorb moisture away from the seed. So the seed is not going to germinate very well if it is sitting close to a salt like a fertilizer grain.
And so you're trying to determine just how much you can put in, and depending on how much of the seed bed that you're using.
Yes, but what we are trying to do here is already we have guidelines. For example, in Saskatchewan, we have maximum rates for seed placed fertilizers, yes, guidelines. And those guidelines are based on 1 inch row spacing. 1 inch opener width and right, 9-inch row spacing. Whereas when you look at the nitrogen side, we actually have three different opener widths: 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. But we don't have that for phosphorus. Okay. We also have different row spacing. We have 6 inches, 9 inches, and 12 inches for urea when you look at the guidelines. But for phosphorus, there's only 1 inch opener width and 9 inches row spacing. So what we are trying to do in this research study is to see if we can generate enough information so that we can have a similar table, so that for farmers who have got a wider opener width, how yes, much more can they add and still be safe in terms of seed placed fertilizer? Or for those who are using a narrow spacing, say for example 9-inch row spacing, compared to those who are using a 12-inch row spacing, how much fertilizer can they add if they are using a narrower row spacing? So that's basically the gist of the study, which has got about 24 treatments in it, looking at the row spacing and the opener width and the fertilizer rates. So making a combination of 24 treatments. What we have here is we have only taken about 10 treatments basically. That's the only 1 inch versus 4 inches. Okay. And then we are also looking at the different rates of phosphorus and see how much can we increase at those opener widths and still remain safe.
Okay, so that's very good. So like 1 inch on a 10-inch spacing would be about a 10% utilization of the seed bed. Yes. And you're saying that in urea there's all kind of data about what will happen, yes, like on 10% or 20% or 30%.
Exactly.
But that hasn't been done in phosphate, and so that's what you're doing.
It has been done. I think some of the numbers that have been generated are in the lab. Okay. This is the first one that I'm seeing in terms of out in the field, when you're looking at field experiments, particularly with phosphorus. And in this study that we have taken out the effect of the urea and ammonium sulfate. Okay. So it's not combined in that combination. So we're only looking at the phosphorus part of it.
Okay. Well, yes, that sounds very good. Well, thank you very much, Patrick, for being with us here today. We really look forward to seeing your results.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.